Cool.
Yeah.
Let's read it.
Not today.
You can't cheat. You can't look at it too.
Oh. Is it safe to be publicly affectionate with your partner in 2017?
Ooh.
Safe.
Goodness.
Ooh.
That's a
Depends
good
where you
question.
are.
Well,
That's a good question.
very recently, there's been a lot of stuff going on, isn't there?
Yeah.
With like the person being beaten up with the shoes and stuff.
Yeah,
I've never heard about that, actually.
no, I remember hearing about some stuff on Facebook. There was stuff like two guys on the tube or something like that.
Yeah.
They were going out with each other, and I think they kissed or something like that, and then they got like beaten up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's mad, 'cause there was a documentary recently on BBC as well.
About those two guys.
Yeah. Well, there was a few gay people actually that were attacked because of.
It sounds like a lot of men are getting attacked, but I feel like if I was to kiss my partner in public, I don't think he would get attacked.
I just think it's slurs, do you know what I mean? Because I've gotten that, like, you get a few people who are just like, oh, lesbian, or
I know,
who's
but
the guy?
I think it's harder for a man than a female. I don't really get like abuse if it's another girl, but I feel like if it's for another guy, I think people would feel a bit more uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can agree to that to an extent.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
No, you're right. I don't know, I think
But
people
so-
are still
yeah.
more homophobic towards men than anything else
I think
than
they
they
are.
are towards women. Because like with women, it's still seen as like a sexy thing
Mm.
until it's two studs or a stud and a femme. Because then they're confused. 'Cause
Yeah,
then they're
that
like,
messes them up,
do you
innit?
know what I mean? Then they're like, oh, you know, who's the guy?
It doesn't
Clearly
serve- it
who's
doesn't
the guy.
serve them.
Doesn't serve
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Whereas if it's two femme girls, and then it's like, yeah, do that again. That's so hot. Then they're okay with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's just like, it depends. It also depends where you are. Like, I don't care.
No, me neither.
Do you know what I mean? I do not care. I hold my girlfriend's hand. I'll snog my girlfriend. I mean, I'm not gross. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to stand like on Oxford Street and have like a full-on make-up session.
Right.
Well,
Walk
if I
into
choose
like
to, I
Gucci.
choose to.
Nah, do you know what?
Everybody else, if you can do it, then why can't I?
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. But I don't personally. I mean, even if it was heterosexual people, you don't need to be making out like, you know, like you're at home in public. There's one thing with like kissing your partner and like holding hands and being cute and like kissing their cheeks or whatever, or like showing affection. But like full on make out, like in the streets, I don't personally want to see that. I don't care what your sexuality is and who you're with, personally. So I wouldn't do that, personally. That's just my only thing about it. But to hold back on PDA, nah, for who? For who must I hold back?
But is
Don't
is it safe? Like, so it's basically asking like you could get attacked for it. Someone could.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't think it is safe.
I don't
I think
think it's safe.
we've progressed, but as with all these things, it has waves of backlash and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
so nowadays you'll be on the tube and you'll see like little teens like kissing and showing affection, and they feel much more confident and free to do so. But then the backlash is, you know, someone gets beaten up for wearing orange shoes and walking around with their partner. People do get attacked, and I don't think that there has been an occasion where I have expressed affection and not at least received a disapproving look or a comment. I've never had violence, but then I'm quite a big guy anyway. I mean, not physically, but you know, I'm
You're
tall,
yeah.
and I just think people would like, no, I'd rather not.
Yeah, no, I think that was the same for me as well, because of my size. They're a lot less likely to say something to me. Like, whereas if I was like in the 5 foot, then maybe I could have been in a different kind of situation.
When you're smaller, I guess you're easier to intimidate.
Yeah.
I guess so. People are more likely to say something to you.
Yeah.
But just like you guys, like being 6'6/6'7", like I'm quite open to showing affection to my partner or whoever I'm with in public, and I don't even think I've had so much as a day look.
Do you feel comfortable doing it?
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Every situation.
Every situation. It just doesn't.
So
It
you
doesn't
kiss
even
them in
come into
Brixton.
my.
Middle of Brixton, you kiss your partner.
Do you know how much gays you see in Brixton? It's
No,
not
there
much.
are.
I know it's changed, I know it's
Yeah.
changed.
It's not unusual to see that in Brixton.
There's still little bits of like ghetto left in Brixton. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, it doesn't even enter my mind that okay, maybe someone's looking. It really doesn't faze me at all.
But do you think, like, okay, so London aside, if you go to, I mean, obviously if you go to places like where homophobia is a big thing, even as a holiday destination, like, what do you do then?
I don't even like to go to
Yeah.
places where
Me too.
they're homophobic.
Yeah.
I don't even like to.
Because I mean, like, I
travel
recently
out.
went to, a few months ago, I went to Jamaica, right, and they full on homophobic there. And it was a little bit nerve-wracking for me, because I was like, even though I'm a tourist, even though I'm here as a tourist and I'm not local or anything like that, I don't want any trouble. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to disrespect the way the people feel locally about it. And so I literally was like, friend, we're here with our friends, we're doing our thing, we didn't touch in public, we didn't do anything in public. Although, we went to a club the one night, and people picked up on it, even though we were nowhere near each other. They were like, oh, so you two are, and I was like, do I say yes? Do I say no? What do I do? Do you know what I mean? And it was very nerve-wracking for me, because I don't normally go on holiday to homophobic destinations, but that was the first time, and I was like, I've always wanted to go to Jamaica. I don't want to not go to a place because I'm gay. Like, that's rubbish.
I don't know.
I think the
to differ.
perceptions, but I think sometimes we have perceptions of places, and actually when we go to those places, it's not as bad as it is.
Exactly.
Like, for instance, I've got a friend, she goes to Jamaica every year, she shoots videos out there, she goes to gay clubs out there, she's a stud.
Yeah.
So there's a scene for it. I just think that it gets a lot of bad press as well,
Right.
down to the music as
I
well.
don't know
So
if you call it bad
as-
press or if it's just really showing where it is in reality. Jamaica is a homophobic place.
It
I'm
is,
Jamaican,
but-
and I don't want to go there because I'm not trying to help their economy. I'm not trying to help the economy of nowhere that whose law is helping them kill gay people. I'm not for it. Like, fuck them.
I hear you.
I appreciate, but what I'm saying is it's not as
It's not as bad.
It's not as bad as you would instantly think.
Yeah, well, no, but you're right though, because I didn't feel sorry to
Yeah, no,
interrupt
no,
you.
no,
I didn't
go.
feel as bad, because eventually I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm a tourist in this country. I'm not going to not tell you that I'm not gay because of whatever. So eventually, when the third or fourth person came up and they were like, oh, is you two together? I was like, yes. Yes.
And how did it?
It was fine. It was fine. Do you know what I mean? At the end of it, the response was okay, and nobody said anything. No one, was rude. Nobody shoved. No, there's none of that. But it was a little bit nerve-wracking for me.
But they wouldn't have done it as much if you're a tourist as well.
But it is scary because
It is still scary.
They would have
at least over here,
allowed
not
at least over here, like if something
they do.
happens,
They
you
do
go to
allow
the
a lot
police
of
and they're
tourists.
going to take it seriously. A
Yeah.
hate crime. Over there, they're going to be like,
Why
why were you flagrantly acting that way in public?
Exactly.
But like I've been to, it's just really strange because the actual anti-buggery law and everything was given to Jamaicans by the Victorian Empire. It was during that time that we sort of shuffled what being homosexual was. Before that, you were someone who did homosexual acts. So that was very different. It was like, you are you, but you partake in homosexual acts. But post that, it was an identity. You are a homosexual, and that made it much easier to vilify people for doing that. And that was something that the Empire sort of gave to the world as a lovely gift that still sort of exists in really, really highly concentrated areas. Africa as well is one of the countries that's just outlawed homosexuality very recently, and not the whole of Africa, obviously. It's Uganda, I believe, have just passed a law criminalising it. And this is something that was given. It's not something that was inherent. I don't believe that black people had any affiliate, like any sort of prejudice towards it. I think we were taught it.
Yeah.
And that was very easy to do because this is a country where there were famines, there were diseases, there was poverty, and if someone rides in and says this will save you and this is wrong, and
I do think it's crazy to believe that we were taught it. I do believe that what you're saying was like you're telling me this. I just feel like it's still not an excuse for them to behave the way they are.
But it's entrenched now. It's entrenched. It's like it's an entrenched way of thinking.
No, but that way of thinking should have been entrenched in me. There's so many things that has been instilled on black people, especially like through the slavery time, that would have had an effect on me. That should have had an effect on me. But I can see things differently, so I don't know why people don't just sort themselves out.
You are already on the other side of the sort of looking glass to be literary about it, because you are gay, so you would have heard those comments and gone, nah, like you would have felt that. So I've mentioned before, but like we already grow up.
But I still think
questioning.
But black people, they should know that they're also on the other side of the looking glass in this white world, and that they should then start to see things and start to analyze and be like, oh wait a second, this isn't right. So maybe other stuff ain't right as well. But they just act really ignorant.
I just think it's religion. I think it's religion. I think people are brainwashed as well to think that being gay is wrong. That's what I think it is. And I think people are strong in their religion, strong in their thoughts, and think.
I don't personally think it's religion. I think they're using religion to back it up.
It's a scapegoat.
Yeah, but I don't think it's actually religion in itself.
Yeah, because when you actually cut down to it and you say, oh well, if you wear a blended fabric, you're going to hell and you're on a mission.
Exactly.
If you
Seashell,
look at another girl,
I know, but when it comes to like,
and they're given the same weight in the Bible as the little tiny few passages that reference homosexuality, and yet there's this huge chasm of hate reserved for that particular.
I know, but I just feel
it's easier for people to judge others than to judge yourself.
Yeah.
There you go, and that's religion again. I thought.
I just think that so many silly values are installed by and with bogus justifications like religion when most of those people don't even like go to church, or they don't even they hate gays and they hate all the different things. Then you ask them why, and they will say something about God, but they've never been to church in their life. They don't even know anything about the Bible. They don't even know which Bible verse says anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're looking to run with it.
But even the ones that do, I'm sorry.
No. Honestly, I was saying, people with me, anyway, people always say to me, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. I hear it a lot, and I'll go, if you know,
Were you there?
If God, exactly, and if God wasn't happy, God would make like it takes a man and woman to make a baby. You can't have two men or two women making a baby, for example. That's another excuse I hear a lot as well. So I just do feel people are just strong on that.
It just.
But then I turn around and say the same thing to them. Okay, so Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. So by rights, that means that Adam and Eve had babies and had children with their own babies. And put a whole heap of incest, right?
Yeah.
Whole heap of incest.
Yeah.
So you know, all inbreds.
Yeah.
But I can't say that to you, can I?
No. But in the Bible, there are stories where you literally read them and you go, and God apparently said, well done to two daughters because they raped their father, got drunk and raped their father, and they procreated and raised
children.
Like there's so much stuff in the Bible that and I'm not bashing people with faith and religion, and I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think that there's so much good in it. But this is my point. It's the people that use it, and they use it for anything but good. They use it to segregate. They use it to make people feel less than them. And I don't think any religious text was created and built so heavy so you could hit people with it. It's not. It's like it's actually full of really interesting, beautiful things. And so for me, I have a lot of sort of bittersweet feeling towards religion and religious texts because I read them because they're beautiful.
I think it's just, I don't know to say it's beautiful. I think it's morally it can be beautiful.
No, as in like some of the actual text is beautiful, like when it talks about certain things. But the whole rules and what to live by and all of that, I think they're so broad and they're so specific to the time that they're no longer that relevant anymore. Like not wholly.
All of them, yeah. Some of
them.
them are, because it's just morals at the end of the day, isn't it? But I think there's a lot of hypocrisy behind it too.
Well, that's it.
That's just what it is.
It's like when people use this excuse to say that gay is wrong, and there are so many different things in the Bible that are sort of stipulated as wrong, and they still break them and don't see it inside themselves.
I get the occasional stare, but I don't get anything. It must be my face. I mean, it must be my face. Why they the rest in bitch face because they don't. I don't get that. I'm tiny, but I don't get that kind of that aggression from people. I get the odd look, maybe the odd comment, if that. But
is that because a man's not going to hit you, and women and lesbianism, because it's served as something, a fetish for straight guys, women don't see it as much of a threat as well. Because one of my friends, he sometimes dresses as a woman, and he looks very much like a woman when he does. and but he doesn't change his voice, or he's still like. So he'll walk through town and stuff, and he'll get, oh yeah, come here, how you? And he'll be like, you're right, mate. And they'll be like, what? But the thing is, he some guys do want to sleep with him, and I remember we went out and he dressed and we finished the night and we left, and some guy was talking to him, and I was like, oh, come on, let's go. And he was like, well, I've given him the number now, so he's going to come over. And I was like, okay, fine, let's go. So we went back to his house, and he was still dragged up, and I was like dressed up as a woman. And I was like, why aren't you getting undressed? And he goes, oh, he wants me to stay like this. And I was like, okay, I'm gone. So I left. Then like a week later, I was at Earl's Court, and you know they change over at the train stand. And I jumped off my train and I went over, and he was sitting there, and he had like big black rings around his neck, big bruised eye. And I was like, what happened? He went, oh, you know that guy? I was like, yeah. He goes, well, we would get into it and everything, and like my wig was slipping, and he kept like hitting me and stuff. And then he turns around to me and said, do you love me? And I was like, I've only just met you. And he just went in and throttled him. And like, just apparently this just went really, really bad. And this guy was huge, and my friend Dan is, you know, as I said, he makes a convincing woman. He's petite and you know, quite slight. Yeah, and so it just turned completely sour because he wasn't serving the right
fetish.
Yeah, the right fetish to this guy. Yeah. So it can become dangerous. I do think it can become dangerous for men. I don't believe that women, like lesbians, are immune to it, but men, effeminate men especially, and people that trans community, because we hear all the time.
They get bad.
But even trans men as well get like from guys that beat them up because they're like, oh, you're a guy, you want to be a guy, so I'm gonna fight you like a guy, and then they just attack.
It's literally anything that makes heterosexuals uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know if you agree, but like, I think people are more bisexual than they'd care to admit.
100%.
Especially men.
But society makes you choose this box, and so anything that sort of questions it or shakes
I
the
think like
foundation.
being straight is a safe option.
Yeah, it is a safe option, without a doubt. Because the thing is that with women, like you were saying earlier on, two women making out works for heterosexual men, because everything's about the heterosexual guy anyway. It's not about the female. No one cares about the female. Do you know what I mean? So two women making out works for the heterosexual male. So it's not frowned upon, in essence. Whereas, so it's okay for girls to be bi-curious. Whereas for guys, I feel like more guys hide their bi-curiousness. That's not even a word. But they hide their curiosity so much more because of how intense men can be to one another with regards to being bi or bi-curious or homosexual. So I do think it is a lot more.
Do you think, not being vulgar, but do you think that's possible to do with the penetration aspect? Because to be a lesbian, there's not necessarily, I mean, girls are designed biologically to be penetrated, right? But men aren't.
Yeah.
So
I think they are designed to be penetrated.
but
like,
like
they have G-spots.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a theory about that, but like, you know, men are designed to be like the sperm giver.
Yeah.
So they're designed to penetrate the woman.
Yeah.
So do you think that the act of being penetrated is what makes them so like, oh my god, they can't have this, and this huge barrier against it?
Maybe.
Could be. That's interesting.
I'm
thought about it, actually.
Well, no, exactly.
But I do definitely feel like it's safer in London, or the UK, I should say, than any other part of the world.
But it's strange though, in other countries you get different customs, don't you?
I don't know, like compared to like Africa or Jamaica or.
Yeah, but there you've got places like Atlanta where it's they almost expect that you walking down the road.
I've never been there, so I can't talk that from my experience. I've never been to America before, but from my experiences, I feel like more white people are more accepting of gays. I just personally feel.
Really?
I just feel that.
Georgia now, or is it Georgia? Chechnya.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Chechnya, they're rounding them up and putting gays in concentration camps, essentially.
Yeah. That's in this country.
No,
that's
Chechnya.
in Russia. Yeah. Russia side.
Yeah.
Oh, Russia. Okay.
But the thing is, I think it depends because like older white people.
Or was it UK white
Oh.
people? UK. I just feel like a lot of white people.
So do you think
everything?
So guys, do you think that homophobia is gonna like die out? Then do you think because if it's mainly like the elder generation that are like have
I don't think it will ever die out.
I
I
think
do think it will decrease.
I just think it's easy for them to have something to hate against.
Yeah.
And I think there's always going to be something that they're going to want to hate. And right now, and for a long time, it's been us. And again, I think it just makes them. It questions them. It questions who they are.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so bad. I remember when I was at school, I know deep down who I am, but I can't quite come to terms with who and what I am. And I remember there was a teacher, I really liked this teacher. I didn't fancy the teacher, but I respected the teacher. But she was openly a lesbian. She was openly gay and everyone could see it. And I just remember none of my friends would go in the shower, would use the shower at school because we had a lesbian teacher. And I jumped on the bandwagon and refused to have a shower in school because she might look at me too, and all of these things. And I remember years after leaving school, I remember thinking, what a fucking bitch. Why would you even have that thought in your head? And I felt so bad about it, but I was fully part of it.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because when you're talking about in secondary school, my music teacher was gay. Gay guy. It was obvious that he was gay. He didn't say it, similarly to yours then. But you would have the boys that will like say all of this stuff and throw out the gay slurs, not so much to him, but just around. But I never really joined in with that. I know I done some stuff on my own later, but at secondary school times, I didn't join any of that because I liked him as a person, and I very much distanced myself from any kind of that stuff.
Did you ever find yourself uncomfortable around people that were open because the association, like if a teacher was obviously gay and all students were saying it, did you ever find their behaviour uncomfortable?
No, I didn't. Mainly because I say this to Daniel all the time. When I was in secondary school, I used my sexuality as a joke. I played on it so well that it was just my humour. So anything else that was happening.
So you were just saying you were gay and everyone was laughing because of like.
Yeah, it was funny. And the way I would say someone's nice, and it's all boys school. I'll say it, but it would just be a joke. To everyone else, it's a joke. But no, he actually was nice. But so when it came to like the teacher side, I don't know whether that maybe played a part on why I found it easier to distance myself from any of their negative comments. But I was able to, and I was completely fine with that teacher. I liked him; he was one of my favourite.
By the time I got to college, I was in a theatre, and I found myself surrounded by gays and lesbians, and I desperately wanted to join them and be around them. I just still couldn't say, hello, hi, what of you? I still couldn't bring myself to be, and I don't know if I felt like I was beating myself up because, see, look how you was before, and now you found yourself in a situation you don't even know how to talk to people.
Yeah,
but
or you were in such a straitjacket that you hadn't got the freedom to even say it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, seeing gay people in the street, especially when I wasn't out, was like it always had my back up. I remember the first time I went to Soho. Actually, I was going to like a straight club in Soho, but I didn't even know I was in Soho at the time because I'd never been. But I walked through, and then like there was these two guys there, and then they kissed, and then I was with like a group of my straight friends, and then they was all like reacting, but I reacted too because I was like I didn't know what was happening. And that's when like, because we're in Soho, and that's when like my body just went cold. I was instantly thinking, they're gonna clock me now. They're gonna clock me. And I don't know why that would come to me, but then I do think that loads of people in that situation then start to rebel and throw out the slurs to try and like cover it, and maybe it's that feeling that they're feeling at that moment. Maybe I do know of that feeling. I do know because I have done it.
So I think I did the complete opposite. I think I just, whenever people started throwing out like homophobic slurs and stuff with my straight friends, I kind of just went quiet and just kind of not said anything at all.
You think that could make them think that, he's not saying nothing because he is?
I don't know. I just kind of
You
like.
do not care.
They were saying I was just like, okay, so I'm just gonna sit here and pretend to do my homework or something, and
Right.
just, you know, I never joined in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do feel like homophobia will
yeah.
die out there, you know, slowly. I don't think it will go completely, but I do feel like the younger generation, a lot of them are openly bisexual. Like a lot of boys,
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
girls. Like everyone, like I've just noticed the whole.
Internet.
Everyone is this bisexual. I
Yeah.
think maybe since Nicki Minaj come out as bi,
I don't,
Young
yeah,
Thug
I
come out as
think
bisexual.
it's a combination of that, but it's also
You know,
just to
a lot of
just
rappers, a lot of
piggyback.
singers are bisexual. They're openly, and I feel like the younger crowd are seeing it and picking up on it.
Is that with
And
boys
they're
though?
like,
Or is that mainly with
boys,
boys?
young boys are
I
bisexual.
reckon.
Loads of,
Yeah,
like, because
it's because they
14,
can
15,
find
16,
like-minded
they're openly
people.
bisexual.
Yeah.
They
The
can
black
find
community as well, and the
yeah.
white community, they're open.
No, it's all, and you're absolutely right, because I think at the
Definitely.
moment, like, even as a lesbian, I don't fear being a lesbian or anything like that, but some straight men can be very aggressive towards women, and I think sometimes, it doesn't matter where you are, be it London, be it South Africa, be it wherever, sometimes a man can be so intense because they have that whole thing about, oh, but you just haven't had the right dick then, innit? You just haven't had the right one, you know, like, you're not really gay, and I personally, that's fearful for me, because I'm just like, because I even remember when I came out to my dad, his thing was like, oh, but are you sure you want to follow this path? It's dangerous for you, not for any other reason except like, men are shit. You cross paths with the wrong man and you
Yeah.
are in trouble.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I refuse to live my life in fear like that, but it's there. Sometimes, if I'm in a place and I do have a little bit of a PDA and a guy he says something, I'm just like, shit. But at the same time, I swear back. Because I can't be like, oh, sorry, I won't touch my girlfriend in front of you. I just lose it because I'm a fire sign, I'm a fiery person. But then when I get home, I'm like, oh, that could have gone south. That could have gone south so quickly. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. Do you know what I mean? So I'm hoping that the younger generation do wipe out that bullshit, because I don't want to fear men. Do you know what I mean? Women aren't going to do that. What are women going to do to me? If a homophobic woman's going to come up to me, what's she going to do? That's just me personally. What is she going to do? She's not going to do anything. But a guy is going to get all like, look at my big dick. I'm going to shove it in you. And you're going to be straight. Okay.
But I hope that doesn't happen. Do any of you still feel safe to publicly display affection? Because I don't know if I'm being, like, if I was honest about it, I think there's a real element of me that still feels it's like a display of courage. There's an element of being brave every time you do show it, even if you are comfortable. For me, I feel like there is an element of your safety being compromised. And as I said, with big guys, I feel like I could extricate myself from a sticky situation. But if I was being completely honest, I feel that even with me, there's a slight element of me that's like, this could go
I don't
wrong.
disagree with you, because I feel like you just don't know how a person's going to react. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you'll find people who won't react. Sometimes you'll get that odd slur. And sometimes you'll meet someone who's just batshit crazy, and they'll just flip everything on its head, and it could just go down south quickly. So, I feel the same way personally. There is a nervousness deep down inside where I'm like, where could this go? But in all honesty, in London, I haven't felt anything. In London, I felt the safest. I can't speak about North England, South England, West England. I can't speak about any of those other places, but London per se, I feel fine.
I'm slightly different. I forget. Sometimes it takes someone to say something for me to realise, oh yeah, I'm different.
Yeah.
Because I forget.
Yeah.
I forget that I'm so used to showing my affection that if we want to have a little cheeky kiss or we're going to have, it doesn't, I forget, oh yeah, you might not like
You
this.
might not like, yeah.
And so
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I kind of forget, like I don't, and I think I don't put myself in places where I feel that I might have to hide, or I try not to do that because I don't want to compromise who I am or compromise
Agreed.
what I am.
So, but that would mean that there is an element of you that feels that in the wrong place it could be.
In the wrong place, or the wrong, of course, there is definitely places where people are going to be ignorant, and you have to be vigilant of these things. As a female, you have to be vigilant of certain things,
Yeah.
you know. So it's just one of those things that you've got to take and understand that these things can happen. Don't be ignorant to the fact that it might not happen. The more kind of aware you are of these things, the safer you can be.
Completely.
So, but am I going to live by that fear? Hell fucking no.
Agreed. I mean, like I said to you, even though I have that nervousness, I refuse to live by that fear. I refuse for it to rule me. I refuse to stop being myself because, no. Do you know what I mean? I've always had this attitude of, if you don't like what you see, look the other way.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. Look the other way. Because I'm not going to stop being me because you're looking. Look elsewhere. Turn around, walk in the opposite direction. I don't care what you do.
You see, honestly, I don't really know my opinion on it, because I feel like I have done it, but I haven't done it often, and I don't know whether that's just because maybe the guy that I've been with, he hasn't really been on it either, or who knows the situation. But I think that maybe I am conscious of where I am and how people may view it, and I do also think that. There are times when afterwards I've realised that I'd done it, and I didn't know at the time because it was just in the moment kind of thing. So I'm really on the flip side. I don't quite know how I feel about this.
But you were saying about being with someone that they might not how they feel about it. For me, it's I've been with someone and gone to a restaurant and they're like, "Oh, I really want to kiss you right now." Go on then.
Do
Do it.
But there's people here. Where? Are you in their conversation? And it frustrated me, and then I think, well, you're not cool with yourself because you're sitting there and you're worrying so much
But
about everybody else.
might be just the whole fact that it's public. And
If you
public
was in a restaurant,
affection
trust
in
me, there
general.
was the people then behind the bar, the cook in the kitchen, and maybe one person in the back waiting for food. There really wasn't many people in there for this to be.
I don't know whether I just don't really
If
like the
your
public thing in
experience-
general
yeah.
as
Public is
well.
public,
But
innit?
if
You
your
don't know at home.
experience,
See, I need to be with someone that that if I like I said, I forget time game. I don't want to have to say, oh yeah, shit. Oh sorry, I can't do that. Sorry. And it to me, it's just
But
putting
if
too
your
much.
experiences have been a certain way, you know, what if your partner's experiences had gone sour and they just didn't want to ruin the evening? So for the sake of it, they're like.
But then that's a conversation you have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
true.
that's a conversation you have so that you know that when we go to dinner, we're not going to do any PDA of any sort because you've had a bad experience in public. Do you know what I mean? If you're in a relationship with somebody, conversation's happening.
Yeah.
If conversation's not happening, then you are going to have an awkward moment like going to dinner and your partner being like, I really want to kiss you right now, but I can't.
But it might not even be your partner though. It could be just someone you're just started seeing.
Of course.
And then it gets even more trickier there, really.
No,
But I
Well,
think,
you know,
I
if we're
think
going
being
out on a
London,
date,
it's
if we're going out on a
relatively-
date, even if it's someone if you're going out on a date, I think if you've got an actual problem with these things, I think you should kind of let the person know
beforehand. For sure.
because that might.
What, like,
impact
oh,
on-
where are you looking to go? Yeah, I'm looking to go here. By the way, I don't really want
No,
to go
no,
public.
no, just-
But we don't know if we're gonna
Conversation
kiss.
anyone has.
No, but
Is
it's
that
just
really a
like
conversation someone
you
has?
can
No,
talk
I'm
to
not really
someone.
comfortable
When
with
you're talking to
PDA,
someone,
like-
yes.
Really?
The way, listen, the way I feel
Never
right,
had
is
that
if you're out with
conversation.
someone, if the moment's right, it just happens. It's not something that, okay, so.
Yeah,
I
but you
really
don't
like
meet
PDA,
someone and just
so
go out with them
I'm
straight
kissing
away.
you,
You
okay.
usually do. There's
It's
usually
just-
a conversation beforehand. You kind of talk and say, oh, what do you like? What kind of things you into? What do you feel about this? And I think public displays of affection is something that comes up because
does.
of other people's
never-
views and
it's never
how
come
the
from a
situation. Well, I don't know, but
It's happened. I
Never.
mean, I've
Never.
had those conversations before where girls are just not comfortable with public display of affection in general. Like whether they were straight, whether they were gay, they just don't do it in general. And the conversation has come up because
I've had a convo with my partner and she said when we go to my home country, we can't do any PDA at all. Right.
Where is that?
and we're
Ghana.
Okay.
But then that's the guy I was about to say, like, we're sort of lucky in that our law system and everything supports us, and the general mentality is that in society we shouldn't be stopped from showing affection. Whether people individually agree with that is different, but like in certain countries the mentality is so different. Like I went to Egypt and I worked there for a while, and this one guy, like they have a very unusual relationship with homosexuality actually. But I remember standing by the bar in this hotel and the staff were like, oh, you see him, you can fuck him. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, you can fuck him. And they apparently, it all turned out they fuck him. Like because he's a bottom and he submits like a woman, he's gay. They're not. And the fact that they felt comfortable enough to tell me that I can fuck this guy, because actually the way that their situation is, that getting women isn't easy, because they have to be chaperoned and looked after, and religion permits them from socialising with men. So this is their solution. So it was so bizarre to be in a country where someone's going, you can go with that guy because he's gay. And it was so bizarre to think that they made a pariah of this guy, but when they're horny, they'll sleep with him. But they don't see themselves as gay because they don't submit. And so for me, that was a really strange thing. And I felt so sort of sad for the guy. I mean, unless that's the way he gets his kicks, I don't know. But the fact that they have no respect for him and yet he's their outlet sexually, I was like, man, that's hard. That's not a good situation. And it's like sometimes you go to countries and straight people hold hands, and you like I was mentioning earlier that I went to a country and some straight guy who just goes to hold your hand and walk down the street, and I instantly want to pull my hand away because I'm like, this means a different thing to me than it does to you. But I think I'm always grateful for the fact that if I want to, it's not really going to be that big a deal here.
So do you guys think it's safe? Like yes or no, like kind of thing?
Yes and no.
I think if I was going to say in a nutshell, I'd say no. I'd say it's only safe if there was never any chance that anything could go wrong, and I don't think that is the case. I think we live in bubbles, we go to places without knowing it, we engineer it so that we're in certain areas that we know we're okay with. Even yourself, you said, oh, well, I don't put myself in situations. So you subconsciously know you're in an environment where it's kind of alright.
I personally feel in 2017, it depends where I'm at. If I'm in London, I feel like I'm safe. I have had people, throw abuse at me, like men, Jamaican men, Yardi men. But I wasn't kissing anyone, I was just walking and they said certain things, but it's just words and it's not going to affect me. But if I want to kiss my partner, I want to kiss my partner. I don't feel it's a big deal. Like, this is the UK. If you're like gay people, you can leave the UK. It's legal here. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't feel uncomfortable.
But you say just to make it topical.
Yeah.
Northern Ireland now has the DUP and they're heavily involved, but they've got certain sanctions from our government, which and they're completely anti-gay, 100%. They're Northern Ireland. They're the political party in Northern Ireland.
Well, even if it's not right and it's wrong, people still accept. It's more accepting in the UK. So I feel comfortable to kiss my partner here.
Yeah. Well, all I'm saying is I'm just making the point that I think things are cyclical, and I think sometimes you get to a point where everything's accepted and everyone's okay, and then suddenly things start to fall out. And so I'm just saying that I don't think we're there yet.
I think it's safer than it has been. I think it's safer than it has been, and I think there's always going to be more to do. But as it stands on a whole, I feel pretty safe to an extent. So I want to say but if I had to choose one or two, I refuse to say no, because then that's me saying I'm giving into the pressures and the fears of other people, because that's stopping me from wanting nah. So I can't say 100% no.
For me, I would say it's not safe. Not necessarily for me, but if I'm thinking like in a broader sense, then I don't think that it's safe for everyone. So the answer would have to be no for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it's safe for everybody. I think people become how some people are. I think they are an easier target. I think for lack of a better phrase to use.
I also think it's down to how you accept yourself as well. I think some people are shy with things and become targets.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we can blame the victim like that.
No, some people.
That's a
victim blame. I believe that some people, because you're seen as someone who's not gonna talk back or shout back or do anything, that makes it
Okay,
easier for
that's
them to
different.
judge.
Yeah,
What I'm
yeah,
saying, they
yeah.
think
It's not
I'm,
even just that as well. I just do feel like some people are so paranoid they attract all this negativity towards them because like
naturally.
yeah,
Some
because
people
like
are
if
like that
like
too.
if you kiss your partner and you're looking around, you're paranoid, then
You're
someone,
gonna attract
someone
it.
might
You're
someone might
gonna
make all
attract
eye
it.
contact you when you
Yeah,
say something. But if
yeah.
you kiss
I
your
get
partner in your own little bubble, like I'm in my own bubble all
Yeah,
the time. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not
definitely.
really looking around.
It doesn't
to see.
invite criticism.
Yeah,
or
like
anything,
just
yeah.
live your life,
No,
man. Do you know what I
exactly.
mean? If you're gonna hold your partner's hand, hold their hand. If you're gonna kiss them,
Kiss
kiss
them.
them. But don't like other people are irrelevant in my eyes. Do you know what I mean?
Completely
And I
agree
just
with
feel
you
like I just feel it's just like it's attraction thing. If you're thinking, oh, people are gonna hurt me because of how I am, I feel that will be your reality. But if you just feel you're not that's not even on your mind.